Hare Krishna. We are hearing Srimad Bhagavad-gita, 15th chapter, sloka number 11. यतन्तः योगिनः च येनं पश्यन्ति आत्मनि अवस्थितं यतन्तः अपि अकृत आत्मनः न येनं पश्यन्ति अचेतसः यतन्तो योगनिश्चयनं पश्यन्ति आत्मनि अवस्थितं यतन्तो अपि कृतात्मानो नैनं पश्यन्ति अचेतसः यतन्तो योगिनश्चैनं पश्यन्ति आत्मावस्थितं यतन्तो अपि अकृतात्मानो नैनं पश्यति अचेतसः यततो योगिनश्चैनं पश्यन्ति आत्मनि अवस्थितं यतन्तो अपि अकृतात्मानो नैनं पश्यति अचेतसः Anyone can receive?
यतन्तो योगिनश्चैनं पश्यन्ति आत्मनि अवस्थितं यतन्तोऽपि अकृतात्मनो नैनं पश्यन्ति अचेतसः
नैनं पश्यति अचेतसः
पश्यन्ति आत्मनि अवस्थितं यतन्तो अकृतात्मानो नैनं पश्यन्ति अचेतसः
यतन्तो योगिनश्चैनं पश्यन्ति आत्मनि अवस्थितं यतन्तो अपि कृतात्मानो नैनं पश्यन्ति अचेतसः
यतन्तो योगिनश्चैनं पश्यन्ति आत्मनि अचेतसः नैनं पश्यन्ति चेतसः
यतन्तो योगिनश्चैनं
पश्यन्ति आत्मनि अवस्थितं
यतन्तो अपि अकृतात्मानो नैनं पश्यन्ति
अचेतसः Word for word meaning. यतन्तः endeavoring, yoginah transcendentalists, cha also, enam this, pashyanti can see, atmani in the self, avasthitam situated, yatantah endeavoring, api although, akruta atmanah, those without self-realization, na, do not, enam, this, pashyanti, see, achetasaha, having undeveloped minds. Translation and purport by His grace, by His divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki jai. The endeavoring transcendentalist who are situated in self-realization can see all this clearly. But those whose minds are not developed and who are not situated in self-realization cannot see what is taking place, though they may try to. Purport. There are many transcendentalists on the path of spiritual self-realization, but one who is not situated in self-realization cannot see how things are changing in the body of the living entity. The word yoginaha is significant in this connection. In the present day, there are many so-called yogis and there are many so-called association of yogis, but they are actually blind in the matter of self-realization. They are simply addicted to some sort of gymnastic exercise and are satisfied if the body is well built and healthy. They have no other information. They are called yatanta api akrutatmanaha. Even though they are endeavoring in so-called yoga system, they are not self-realized. Such people cannot understand the process of transmigration of the soul. Only those who are actually in the yoga system and have realized the self, the world, and the Supreme Lord, in other words, the Bhakti Yogis, those engaged in pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness can understand how things are taking place. Okay. Before going to this verse, we'll recite from first verse of this first chapter, first verse of 15th chapter. Actually, in this chapter, the overview is like this. Verse 1 to 6, it speaks about attaining liberation by detachment. This detachment, we can see in that first verse, we should cut. The cutting is called detachment. 1 to 6 speaks about attaining liberation by detachment. And verse number 7 to 11, like those who are not attaining liberation, they are bound and they transmigrate life after life. We recite the verses from first verse and then quickly we'll. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Urdhamulam Adhashakam Ashwaddham Prahur Avyayam Chandansi Yasya Parnani Yastam Veda Sa Vedavit. The Supreme Personality Godhead said, it is said there is an imperishable banyan tree that has the roots upward and its branches down and whose leaves are Vedic hymns. One who knows the tree is the knower of the Vedas. Here, next, second verse. Adachordvam prasutastasya shaka guna pravruddha vishaya pravalaha adasya mulani anusantatani karmanubandhini manushya loke. Here speaking that the spiritual world is the reflection of this material world. This material world is the perverted reflection of spiritual world. Here he has given an example of banyan tree. A banyan tree which is on the shore of a water or on the pond, when you see the tree is reflected on the water. But here the tree is compared to material, the reflected tree is compared to material existence. The reflection is compared to the material existence. The original tree is compared to spiritual world. What about water? What is the water compared to? The water is compared to the desire. And the desire, the spiritual, the water is compared to the desire. Our desires are compared to the water. If we see, the reflection is not shaking. Though the tree, original tree is there, but reflection is not shaking. But why it is shaking? Because of quivering of the water. Because of shaking of the water, the reflection is shaking. There is a disturbance. Similarly, our desires, because of our desires, and this, because of so many desires, we will get bound in this material world. That's what this next fourth verse. We can see same verse in Srimad Bhagavatam also. It is given same verse. Srimad Bhagavatam verse number 12th canto. You can open 12th canto. 11th canto, 12th chapter, verse number 21. You can 11, 12, 21. You can. Same verse. Same. What about this? The banyan tree example is also more or less same meaning is given in Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 12th verse. 11, 12, 21 below 20, 22, 23. Okay, before going that, we'll see even in Karavalamba Stotra, it's open? 22, 23. Okay. We'll recite this sloka. No, I'll recite it just. Dveyasya bije shatamula trinalaha panchaskanda panchasrasa prasutihi dasaikashako dvisuparna nedas trivalkalo dvipalo arkam pravishtaha adanti chainam falamasya grudra grame chara ekam aranyavasaha hasam yayekam bahurupam ijjair mayamayam vedasa veda vedam. Translation can read. Translation. Someone can read.
Hey Krishna. This tree of material existence has 2 seeds, hundreds of roots, 3 lower trunks and 5 upper trunks. It produces 5 flavors and has 11 branches and a nest made by 2 birds. The tree is covered by 3 types of bark, gives 2 fruits and extends up to the sun. Those lusty after material enjoyment and dedicated to family life enjoy one of the tree's fruits, and swan like men in the renounced order of life enjoy the other fruit. One who, with the help of the bona fide spiritual masters, can understand this tree to be a manifestation of the potency of one supreme truth appearing in many forms, actually knows the meaning of the Vedic literature.
Below, translation in the purport, first para, what are those 2 seeds? 2 seeds is pious and impious activities. You read first para. Just what are those? He has given the way he is telling there are 2 seeds, shatamula, hundreds of roots are there, 3 nalaha, 3 trunks are there, 5 upper trunks are there, pancha, 5 prasuti here, 11 branches and 2 suparna, birds. And it is resting on the nest. What is that? He will explain what are those.
The 2 seeds of this tree are sinful and pious activities. And the hundreds of roots are the living entities' innumerable material desires. which chain them to material existence. The three lower trunks represent the three modes of material nature, and the five upper trunks represent the five gross material elements. The tree produces five flavors: sound, form, touch, taste, and aroma, and has 11 branches: the five working senses, the five knowledge acquiring senses, and the mind. Two birds, namely the individual soul and the super soul, have made their nest in this tree, and the three types of bark are air, bile, and mucus, the constituent elements of the body. The two fruits of this tree are happiness and distress.
Same this, it is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, about Ashwadha tree. There it is given the reflection of this spiritual world in the, actually this material world is the reflection of spiritual world. Same thing, even in Karavalamba Stotra, about Shankaracharya has written this Karavalamba Stotra glorifying Narsimhadev. I just Samsara Vriksham Agabija Mananta Karma Shaka Shatam Karna Patram Ananga Pushpam Aruhya Dukkha Falitam Patato Dayalo Lakshmi Narasimha Mamadehi Karavalambam. He was telling Agabijam. Aga means what? Sin. The seed is compared to sin. The tree, the seed of the tree is compared to a sins. Agabijam, Ananta Karma. These branches, Ananta Karma Shakam. These hundreds of branches is compared to, they are compared to karma, our whatever activities, fruitful karma kanda activities we do. And Indriyas, he is telling, Indriyas compared to leaves, and flowers are compared to kama, the desires, lusty desires, and sorrowful results are compared to fruits. And what we are doing? Aruhya. Aruhya means we have climbed. Which tree? Samsara Vriksham. Have climbed the Samsara Vriksha of this tree. Now, what happening? After climbing, what I am doing? Patato Dayalu. I have fallen. And he is praying to Narsimhadev, please bless with your hands. And he is praying to Narsimhadev. Similar verse to this. Okay, we'll discuss this sloka. Here, actually, 11th verse, it speaks about, 11th, before this 11th verse, 10th verse, it speaks about Jnana Chakshu. This. We'll read the translation of 10th verse. The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of modes of nature. But one whose eyes are trained in the knowledge can see all this. Means one who has knowledge, what is called Jnana Chakshu. Actually, 10th verse is speaking about Jnana Chakshu, seeing the things through our eyes, through the knowledge of the eyes. That is, he is speaking about Jnana Chakshu. Okay. Here he is giving a metaphor in 11th verse. Here, in the translation, we can see what is in the 11th verse, translation is telling, that endeavoring transcendentalists who are situated in self-realization can see all this clearly. What is this refer? This refer to a person who is in the reality that living entity is born by material existence and dragged by the material modes. It is discussed, it is spoken in 9th verse. 9th or In ninth or seventh word it is spoken about this living entity. He is referring with that. Here he is giving a metaphor of two persons. One is a materialist, another is a yogi. Here both are endeavoring, but one is getting a self-realization, but the other person is also endeavoring, but he is not getting the Atmagnan, that self-realization. You will see. Here we see yatanto yoginah chainam. Yatanta means endeavoring. Yoginah yogi chayanam. They are endeavoring, they are striving. The yogis are striving for yoga. They are striving. And this is referred to how so they are endeavoring how to get out of this material existence. They are striving. But yogi can see. What can they see? The soul is bound in this material world and is dragged by material modes. Yogi can clearly see this, but whereas the other person cannot see, because they are not on spiritual platform. Since he is not on the spiritual platform, he cannot see. But whereas a yogi, he is on the spiritual platform. He is a in that 11th verse he is telling, he is situated in Atmani avasthitam. He is situated in self-realization. That's why he could see, yogi can see that living entity is trapped in this material world and is dragged by material modes. But whereas other person cannot see. Why the other person cannot see? They are also endeavoring, and they are not able to see because their chetana is misdirected. Their chetana is materially motivated. That's why they cannot see. Though both are endeavoring, but on one hand, one person is able to see that he is bound in this material world and he has to get out of this material world, but other person cannot see. But what kind of endeavor should we do? The endeavor has to be, when we do endeavor, there should be some transformation. And the endeavor should be directed endeavor. Just like when you keep a very beautiful or attractive flower in front of a blind person, no matter how much duration of time you keep in front of him, he cannot appreciate that flower. Though he might be seeing, he is trying, he is endeavoring to see, but he cannot see. But in order to, for the person to see, the blind person, what we have to do? There should be some change. There should be some treatment for the blind person. When you treat the blind person, when he gets the eyes, then he can appreciate the flower. Similarly, a spiritual yogi, he has that jnana chakshu, he has that knowledge, so that he can see the things as it is. We are bound in this material world. See, and whereas a person who is material consciousness, who is attached to the family and who is attached to this, bound in this material, he cannot see. There should be a guided transformation so that we can, Prabhupada gives this analogy in his purports that a blind person cannot see. But when there is a treatment for the eyes, then he can able to see the and at the same time he can appreciate the flower. And okay. And what is this what is this, how can, okay, the person is in material consciousness, how to make that person to spiritual consciousness? Just like for a blind person, you are giving a treatment and then he can see the flower. But how can you make a person, material person, to come to a stage where he can see the thing as it is? By hearing about the spiritual knowledge. Out of 9 devotional principles, 2 are very potent. One is hearing and chanting. By hearing, the person gradually he comes to a stage so that he can see the things as it is. And gradually he should come to that stage, and then he can come out of this material consciousness. And even in Bhagavad-gita there is also one sloka, Bhogaishvarya prasaktanam taya purata chetasaha vyavasayatmika buddhi samadau na vidiyate. Those who are attached to this material world, their consciousness is, chetana is apahruta. Apahruta means abducted, it is trapped, it is kidnapped. And they cannot concentrate on spiritual knowledge. Those who are too much attached to the material things, attached to the matter. And one has to come out of that consciousness, then only he can see he can get a right consciousness to see the things as they are. Just like a child, we should, as a spiritualist, we should be very cautious. We should not be just like a child. He is casual and he is lazy. We should not be lazy like a child, because when we are lazy in Krishna consciousness, what happens? Just like when a kidnapper, when he sees the child alone, what he does? He pounces on the child and he will kidnap the child. Similarly, when we are not safeguarding ourselves, then what Maya does? What is that one bhajan Maya? That verse is there. Nikate Maya tare japadiya dhare. What? Maya pounces on the person and drags away the consciousness of the person. That's why we should be very, very, our spiritual practice should be continuous, and it should not be lazy. That's why we should be very, very cautious about our practice of Krishna consciousness. Okay. Whether you are, while practice of Krishna consciousness, whether you may be feeling, sometimes you may feeling high, sometimes you may feeling dry, but still we should not give up our practice in Krishna consciousness. Whether one time you may be getting taste, sometime we may not get, but still we should go on with our practice. We should not get, we cannot stop our practice of Krishna consciousness. And at the same time, what is the meaning of spiritual platform? Spiritual platform means acting on the soul platform. We should not let our desires guided by material desires. We cannot let our life guided by material life. Let our life be guided by the needs of the soul, so that we can be rightly situated. And even in Bhagavad-gita 3.32 also, he speaks about achetasa. Here also Bhagavad-gita 3.32 he says, Yetu yetad abhyasuyanto nanu tishtanti ma matam sarva jnana vimudanstan vidhi nastan achetasaha. But those who out of envy disregard these teachings and do not follow them regularly are to be considered bereft of all knowledge, befooled and ruined in their endeavors for protection. Here achetasa, the consciousness are dragged away from Krishna consciousness. And okay. Like he was giving an example, if our consciousness is somewhere else, like Kama, even while taking darshan of Krishna in temple, our consciousness sometimes go somewhere else, drive away. It should not be like that. Our consciousness should be focused on the spiritual. Here purport is, even though they are endeavoring in so-called yoga system, they are not self-realized. Such people cannot understand the process of transmigration of soul. Not self-realized means they have hazy conception of soul. Because hazy conception, they do not take tangible steps towards self-realization. That is why they neither have comparison nor self-realization. Okay, I'll just what we discuss is just, I'll recap what we have discussed. In this sloka, we discuss about two kinds of people are endeavoring. One person is able to see the things as it is. What is that? The living entity is trapped in this material world, and they are under modes of material nature. And he could see the things as they are because they are on spiritual platform. Whereas the other person, he is not able to see because his consciousness is misdirected. His consciousness is materially conscious. He is attached to the matter. And how to make this person come out of this material consciousness, we should hear about the topics about Krishna. Then he can come out of this material consciousness, then he can see the things as they are. And by doing this, we can, we should be on spiritual platform? No, we should act on the spiritual platform so that we can gradually come to the stage of completely spiritual realization. Okay, do you have any questions? You can. Okay, we'll end here. Srila Prabhupada ki.
His Grace Ram Govind Prabhu ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada